All right, I think we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the start of my new podcast. It's going to be the Crypto Minutes with the Real PG. Please smash the like, subscribe. Link is in the bio. Pretty much changing this over from my old sports content YouTube to my crypto content now instead of making a brand new channel. So today we're going to briefly be touching on the DOJ seizures, the altcoin to gold chart, total 3 chart, this fuck BNB movement, move away from BNB movement, along with some payout stuff that I've seen, some countries that are stacking Bitcoin, and the shit that comes along with that. By some brief altcoin analysis today. So, gonna try to keep this nice, short and sweet, and get on with it for day one. So, this morning, DOJ indicts Chen Zai in pig butchering scam, seizes 14 billion in Bitcoin. So this was just pretty much put up to this morning. There's a varying amounts from 12 to 15 billion, and this says 14 billion, but either way, it's about 100,000 plus Bitcoin, no matter how you look at it. U.S. Department of Justice indicted this guy, chairman of Cambodia's Prince Holding Group, on October 14, 2025, being today, for orchestrating pig butchering crypto scam that defrauded global victims of billions since 2019 using forced labor compounds. Authorities seized, here we go, 127,271 Bitcoin valued at $14.1 billion from related wallets, marking the largest crypto forfeiture in DOJ history and boosting U.S. holdings to over 37 billion. Chinese national with dual UK Cambodian citizenship faces wire fraud and money laundering charges and remains at large. So it's what I know. Obviously, in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. It's a very simple thing, right? So what I have seen, what I've been told, I can't find any of it. It was this morning, I was all over the X, but there has been notification that this coin has been moved from this wallet into the United States DOJ wallet. I'm sure I could go on Arkham and look it up, but I'm not going to do it on the live stream. But this month, apparently the keys have been obtained somehow because money has been moved out of the wallet, unless this is this guy moving them for them in order to cooperate in some way. More to come on that. Let's go full screen on this. Next, we're going to look at the altcoin gold chart, and this takes us all the way back to 2017 when I initially got into crypto around $3,000. The first cycle was incredibly wild, and if we look, we're seeing a lot of correlation between this cycle and the later part of the last cycle, early part of this cycle, 2021 and 23 similarities. So you have obviously a big run up, altcoin cycle top. We see a bottom, and then we see kind of a V-shaped recovery, W-shaped recovery, followed by a double bottom, which is the COVID crash. And of course, we then break that high and proceed to new all-time highs, where we then fell and created barely newer all-time highs, initially leading into the bear market. Created this first bottom. We came back up, hit this first top, came down, same trend line, and now we have the Binance crash, or what is labeled as the Binance crash. I mean, it essentially was Little Dick Tang who was responsible for this, along with Wintermute and apparent Oracle failures and API things. As far as Binance has to do with that, they have been reimbursing victims. So I've seen a couple things now. This is just one of them. Received 3 BNB airdrop after losing my money on the BSC scam from last week's crash. Thank you, big cousin. Thank you, big sister. But yada yada. And CZ responded, trade carefully in the future. So they are currently making paybacks. I heard it was $340 million, $400 million, somewhere in there after, making God knows how many billions. So it's a very Binance move. Quickly, let's take a look at the total 3 crypto chart on the weekly. Super, super bullish, guys. This is incredibly bullish. Seeing this wick down, this is not a bearish thing. This is a bullish thing at all-time highs. Next move, looking for a breakout. I briefly talked about this, and specifically Tau, the other day on my live stream. So I'm going to play a quick clip of, if I can get to my damn channel. Here it is. closer to, because of how far we've fallen, be a little bit closer to this resistance right in this area here. So you can see we have a pretty strong resistance already at this top here, right through here. So yeah, target would be just below that probably. We might wick into it. Best case scenario though, we fill this. It's hard to say it's a double bottom, but with the wick here, it's this double bottom pattern, which generally will give you some tremendous upside. I also can see this as like a semi-tilted head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders kind of thing, where that might be where that measured move came from. So let me just double check and see where I got the other measured move from. If I can find this pen. So yeah, it was like something like this, maybe. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and something like that would give you a measured move from the bottom to the neckline, which would be this trend line. And I'm guessing that's exactly where that measured move came from, to the breakout. And there you go. Yep. So basically, this is really the target for me for Bittensor, 735. Okay, so that was a few days back now, the day after the crash. So let's talk a little bit about Tau real quick, if I can find it. All right, so coming from CM Kid. A year ago, I said the Tau would likely follow the price action of ETH in 2017. Blue candles in this chart is ETH in 2017. At the time I theorized this, people thought I was crazy because the price was around $300 back then. This is an hour ago. Yes, the price is right around $300 2 days ago as well. So with that being said, interestingly, the price action Tau has been spot on, like a 90% fit. All right, so let's take a look at this chart. And it is pretty crazy, the resemblance it bears to early Ethereum, and well, not even early Ethereum. I mean, this cycle's early Ethereum, and so this is what the correlation chart is showing us, and I do believe that this is extremely accurate. And this chart here kind of shows a pretty strong level of support resistance and a little gap in here, and this corresponds really well with that bottom line to about the 750 800 level. So I think we're all kind of in an agreement here that the $700 to $900 range is probably going to be the next move for Bittensor Tau based off the technicals. Let's take a look at what some other people are talking about. If anything, 700 plus, I agree. Realistic targets for Tau. I do believe in this one too. Own one Tau before it's impossible. Kind of like Bitcoin. Sounds crazy now. Sounds crazy. But same tokenomics, but it's the Tau of AI, or the Bitcoin of AI is basically Tau. So will this ever become the case? It's hard to say, but I'm making sure that I own more than my fair share of Tau just in case. Because when I came into Bitcoin, I didn't understand what I was holding at $3,000, my first investment ever in my mid-20s. Now here I am 10 years later almost. And yeah, don't have nearly as much as I would like to have had and had 7 to 8 years ago. So I'm going to buy my Tau now. I'm going to hold my Tau. I've had it since early 200s. I bought even more on the dip. So my current chart sitting at 452 today. Bought the dip down where we stabilized when I could finally get back on exchanges at around 280, and have been long from there. And that's exactly when I made that video as well, the day after that dip, somewhere in the stabilization area. All right, so that along with the total 3 chart makes me exceptionally bullish, seeing breakouts on AI kind of leading the path for altcoins. I really should have pulled up the Ben Cowan post too, about having to, we can do that quick. So there was an interesting post from Ben Cowan, who is basically the bearish wizard of crypto, but Ben Cowan, so he was basically saying in a podcast earlier that he would have to see ETH at around $5,300 and holding that level. There you go. So my min target is $5,300. And he's saying he needs to see that level and a hold of that level before altcoins will go on their run. So in order to do that, Bitcoin is going to need to go on a run to drag Ethereum with it. Therefore, he's speculating alts are going to move down. Bitcoin dominance is going to move up. In the meantime, for the next 2.5 weeks, he's thinking this rotation will take place. And then altcoins is kind of what I understood from it. Yeah. Next, we got some different stuff going on with Thailand now. So they have officially implemented 0% capital gains tax. Awesome. It is older news, yes, but it is posted again today, and it's got to do with some other stuff. So US, Russia, and China now control around 68% of the global hash rate for Bitcoin. America leads with 38%. At least that is what the public ledgers show, followed by Russia at 15.5. I find it odd that North Korea is not anywhere in here, as I would figure they would have at least around what Russia does. And despite the mining ban, China still holds about 14% of global hash power. So yes, but following the latest seizure, they claim to now own 325,283 Bitcoin after the seizure of 127,000 or whatever it was today. And along with that, Jason Casper, great trader, says the irony is wild. Crypto started as a way to escape financial control. That's exactly why I got in. But the more it's regulated and tracked, the closer it gets to becoming the same system it tried to replace. And I cannot agree with that more. And that just kind of comes with the territory and with the business cycle and with all this move into TradFi that we're seeing. So on the TradFi front, Larry Fink, Ondo, BlackRock, a lot's going on there. So quickly, let's touch on this. Ondo Finance just bought Oasis Pro Brokerage Dealer, ATS, and transfer agent licensing, acquiring 3 to 5 years of regulatory runway for $50 to $75 million. Okay, BlackRock needs third parties for BUIDL fund distribution. Franklin Templeton relies on external infrastructure, and Ondo now owns the entire tokenization stack from origination to on-chain distribution. 600 million assets under management, growing 300% annually, with the only integrated SEC regulated infrastructure in DeFi. Ondo at a $1.1 billion fully diluted value for monopoly positioning in the $26 trillion treasury tokenization. So if you don't hold any Ondo, I don't own any Ondo at this point in time, but I think I'm going to need to buy a bag because the moves they're making and the way BlackRock things generally play out, it works in their favor. So I think holding no Ondo would be doing a disservice to your portfolio unless you have another RWA of choice that has better positioning, and I personally cannot think of one. So yeah, Ondo, Tau, and lastly, we're going to be looking at Kaspa, another one that I am very high on, have been in since just under 4 cents, and off half my bag around 17 cents on the way back down. I was one of the many who thought that we would continually make our way up till we got into the 30 to 50 cent range before correcting, and I was strongly mistaken, obviously. So I did take profits on the way down, holding half of my bag now. But we are looking at this Kaspa Power Law. So to date, at the current 6 cent valuation, we are still an 83% fit on the Power Law. And you can see the regression fit change from the high 90% into the lower 80% with this dip. But we are still well within the confines of the Power Law. So, yeah, went down to just about a penny on some exchanges. Nobody was able to buy this price that I'm aware of. The lowest I had seen from anybody was 1.2 cents, and congrats to them. A quick 5x back to 6 cents or so now, or quick 4x, whatever that is. So yeah, those are 3 tokens that I would be looking at picking up. Tau, after this run, it's a little bit difficult. I'd be waiting on some kind of retracement, hopefully. And if Ben Cowan is right, he believes that the alts will come and see even lower lows than already presented on this dip. So according to what he is saying, there is some tremendous downside for the alts before the upside comes, and then if the upside truly comes for altcoins, it's going to be due to ETH's positioning over $5,300, which is going to take a big shift in Bitcoin, like I said, which is going to carry Bitcoin dominance up, trending against altcoins. So despite seeing a pretty bullish total 3 chart that we looked at earlier, there is certainly a chance for rejection here, just as much as that we clear into new all-time highs. But yeah, that is what I got for you guys today. Till the next one, stay safe in these markets, and peace.